have to hit that record to whatever, and then it should start recording it. And you'll see it up in the top right, I think.
Go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian, and I am joined by my research partners, Matt and Lawrence. And today we will be presenting our study examining the relationship between wins above replacement or WAR and team and player career success during and as of the 2022 and 2024 Major League Baseball seasons. Advanced analytics have transformed modern baseball by helping teams make decisions related to roster construction, player evaluation, and game strategy. One of the most widely used advanced metrics is WAR, which attempts to summarize a player's total value in one number by comparing that player to a replacement level player at the same position. WAR incorporates contributions from hitting, defense, base running, and separately pitching to estimate how many additional wins a player provides to a team. Using data from sources such as Baseball Reference, we analyze batting, pitching, and positional WAR metrics against team win records across Major League Baseball teams. In addition, we compared the WAR metric between players in the Hall of Fame and those that are not. My research partners will present and highlight data ran in collab.
Thank you. My name is Lawrence. I'll go through the initial coding side. So our step one, we had to install and import all the libraries we needed to do the analysis. Step two, we uploaded the data set, and then we continue. And then step three, we had to clean up the data set, and then we continue. And then step So the analysis and visualization, we had like 1 to 14 analysis. So the first one was the distribution carrier wall. Distribution carrier wall. So here we just more or less plotted out the distribution of the carrier wall for all of the players. You can see. And then analysis two, we had the Hall of Famers and then the non-Hall of Famer carrier walls. So we had to plot them more than compare both of them in violin plots. And analysis three, we had to plot for the suspended likes players that probably took steroids and versus clean players. Uh, so here we compare both of them, the mean value of the suspected steroid users and then the players that were clean throughout the season. And then analysis four, we had to do the debut age versus the career wall. So more like just like the age at which these players, some of them debuted, started from like 15 to 30 years. And then analysis five, we had to do correlation heat maps for all the players. And here what we are doing is more like we had different colors, like the green, more like the strong positive correlation, and then uh, yeah, that is it for analysis six. More like we had the offensive versus defensive war. So here we just more or less plot the distribution of like low offense and high defense and high defense and high offense plot for. So most player kind of skew towards offensive value. So more like offensive players in this aspect are probably more important than the defensive player. And then analysis seven, we did career longevity, like how it affect the total war of the student of the players. And then analysis eight, we plotted the top 20 players by career wars. And analysis 9, we more or less rank the comparison between the WAR and the WAA ranking of the players. And analysis 10, we had to do the effect of suspension on each of the career wars. So here we just compare players that got suspended during uh, their their career and players that were not suspended, how that affect the team. Analysis 11, we just more or less do the top teams in terms of performance throughout the seasons. LAD perform the most, TBD perform less, and SDP perform. So those are more like the top performance, top 15 performance of players. And it is 12, we did like the positional word distribution across the teams. Um, Yeah, I think that is it for my end.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I'll take over. My name is Matthew Hart. Um, Here we have some data. We looked at two separate team data from two different years, from 2022 and 2024, and looked at the positional war value data and their effect on the team winning percentage. First, we have this correlation analysis. We found that pitching WAR has the strongest correlation win percentage with a 0.597, suggesting that pitching was the most influential factor tied to team success. Um, Also, right field and third base positions also showed a strong positive correlation, and showing that teams with strong right field and third base production tend to win more games. Most positional variables were not highly correlated with each other, so that indicated that positions contributed relatively unique information. And here we have the heat map visualization of our findings here. Basically confirms the strong positive relationships between the positional war variables and winning percentage, more specifically the right field, pitching, and third base. Most of the relationships stayed weak to moderate, suggesting that multiclinearity would likely not be a problem and would remain manageable in regression analysis. Following this, we have the regression analysis model predicting team win percentage. Here we found that the model produced a very high R squared of 0.924, showing about 92.4% of win percentage variation was explained by the model. It was statistically significant overall, and the positional war variables collectively had a meaningful relationship with team success. Nearly every variable remained statistically significant, suggesting successful teams benefit from contributions across multiple positions. Next, we have the regression coefficient visualization, the bar chart, just to kind of like visual representation of the coefficients. And we find here that third base actually has the large regression coefficient, showing the strongest unique contribution after controlling for all other variables. Pitching WAR had the strongest correlation earlier, but not the largest coefficient. This is demonstrating how regression kind of isolates unique variable effects. They're all relatively close in size overall, supporting the idea of a balanced roster construction. Next, we have the predicted versus the actual team win percentage plot. Here we found that most points clustered around this diagonal line indicating strong predictive accuracy. A few major outliers were present, but the model prediction stayed fairly consistent across teams, and this visually supports the high R squared value from our regression and just reinforces the strength of our model fit. Moving on, we have the residual plot and analysis and diagnostics. Here we see that the residuals were randomly scattered around zero, suggesting the linear regression model was appropriate with no major curve patterns or clustering appearing, which shows and indicates that no major systematic prediction bias existed. The residual spread stayed relatively consistent, suggesting limited evidence of heteroscedasticity. Down here, number 16, we have the multiclinarity analysis, where we looked at the VIF values. Um, They show that severe multiclinearity was not present and that pitching WAR had the highest VIF. Some overlap existed, but it was still within an acceptable level. First base and catcher at the lowest values, and these variables contributed more independent information. Um, and then lastly, we have the variance inflation factor visualization chart here, demonstrating those values, and they're all under 5. And then lastly, we have the Hall of Fame prediction model. This last part here, we find that the regression model achieved 96.9% accuracy, showed that non-Hall of Fame players did extremely well and performed reasonably well in Hall of Fame players. Batting WAR, offensive WAR, and RBI were the strongest positive predictors of a Hall of Fame induction, with home runs and defensive metrics also contributing positively but less strongly. Overall, the analysis suggests that the overall player value and offensive production are most important factors in predicting a Hall of Fame success for a player. And I'll pass it to Brian for our conclusion.
Yep. Yep. So in conclusion, this study highlights the growing importance of analytics in professional sports such as baseball and demonstrates how advanced metrics like WAR can help organizations better understand the factors that contribute to winning.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to have worked together and wish everyone the best.
Yes, absolutely. I second that.